Michael Jace, an actor from one of our favorite TV shows, The Shield, might have murdered his wife. But who hasn't thought about doing that?
Casey Kasem wasn't our sock drawer after all. Sorry, guys.
Ray J pays it forward and gives Kim and Kanye the profits from him paying it into her backside.
And WWE stock takes a shot to the face.
And that's the bottom line.
Because the internet says so.
And we will discuss none of this on this week's Unholy Matrimony.
So, there's a war brewing out there. No, not really. It's not that dramatic. It appears that I might have a beef with a very minor comic book impresario, an artiste, if you will. So we went to Emerald City Comic Con this year, and we took in the store, the floor, and went to the different artists and exhibitors, and checked out everybody's work. And I came across the recently released Batman 66 comic. The thing fucking is just beautifully done. Just great looking book. They're just now being able to license products with the original 60s Batman, the Adam West Batman, and those characters and in those stylings and whatnot. And so this is the first comic that's coming out of those characters, and when I saw it, I had to have it. And we happened upon the booth of the artist Jonathan Case, and he was out of the book, but said that if I paid for it, he would ship it to me, sign it and ship it to me. And so I was like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I'm not going to get ripped off or anything.
Seems legit.
Well, that was about 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Like, I was just commenting to Bethany about how I feel like Ralphie from Christmas Story. I keep checking the mailbox every day, expecting my super secret Dakota ring, and that shit's just not coming. I still had faith. I'm like, yeah, it'll eventually come. It's going to come. And then, for some reason, tonight I checked the mail, and it, once again wasn't there. And I'm like, this shit's never going to come. And so I have just now sent my first email to the guy. We'll see if I get a response. How long do you think I should give?
For a response?
Yes.
Okay, I want to give a little bit more background because Jeremy spent $25 on this book. It's not like it was $10 or something like that. $25 on this book on blind faith alone because the guy said, well, I'm all out of the books with me here today, but if you want to pay for it now, my publisher is getting me some more on Tuesday. And this was Saturday or Friday.
Friday, yes.
It was Friday. So he said, I'm getting more on Tuesday. I can just ship it to you when I get them.
And he lives in Portland.
Which
is, a 3-hour drive from here, so
right.
It's not like it takes that long.
So you're getting a package, even if you're shipping at the slowest speed, you're getting it in 4 or 5 days. So, we waited, and it was actually, I'm the one that grabbed the business card, because Jeremy's like, okay, thanks, and we started to walk away, and I was like, I don't want to just pay for something and then not even remember, because if you guys have ever been to a Comic-Con, you've got bags full of, business cards and this and that, and
I liked how she just inserted herself as the hero of the day.
I did save the day. No, it was just, I didn't mean it like that, but I meant I should probably grab his card. So I grabbed his card and even made a comment on the phone number about how it's a Portland area code. And the reason I did that was so that I would remember in case, I forgot which business card it was later. So anyway, we had this card. And we started to get really concerned, that buyer's remorse type thing really started to kick in, especially when we got home. We're going through all our loot and came across the card and realized that there isn't even a fucking website on the card. It's literally just his name, a phone number, and his email address. and that's it. We were like, oh my God. And so, a couple of times we were like, you should really email that guy. And we haven't really brought it up since then. So I was actually kind of surprised that Jeremy emailed him tonight. But that being said, honestly, I think that you're giving him too much time if you let it go more than 3 or 4 days.
Okay, so in 3 or 4 days' time, if I have not heard anything back, I'm gonna fire the first volley,
Yes.
the first shots at Mr. Jonathan Case. Believe me, I have friends that you don't want to fuck with online. Okay,
We won't mention any names.
we're not gonna mention any names, but Elvis and Beeg. Oh, look, I mentioned names.
Oh.
Elvis and Beeg are gonna get you.
Yep.
They're gonna get your ass.
They're obsessed with it too. Obsessive about it.
They will burn your life down.
Yep.
You hear me, Jonathan? 3 days.
You better reply.
3 days. And I don't care if you're not even going to hear this, if ever, for another, 5 days until it releases? I don't care. 3 days, bitch. 3 days.
If you're a real artist, you'd be able to hear this before we even post it.
If you're a real artist, you would be fucking sitting in the corner of the room sketching us as we do this podcast.
If you're a real artist, you would have just given us a motherfucking book in the first place and we wouldn't even have to do this. I just realized we're like for free plugging him.
No.
Don't buy from this guy.
Wait, let's give him 3 days.
All right, in 3 days, you may not want to buy from this guy.
Yeah. I am still giving him the benefit of the doubt because he did write down my address and stuff on just a piece of like notebook paper that could have easily been lost. So he has that going for him. So if in 3 days' time he gets back to me and clears all this up, and 4 days after that I have a nice new comic book in my hands to read and drool over, and especially the wonderfully rendered pictures of Julie Newmar, then I'll be a happy boy, and we won't have to take any of these steps.
Yep.
3 days.
3 days. Trace Deos.
Just because you might see 2 big jugs up here, that don't mean that there ain't a pork sword down below just waiting to take you for a ride.
Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret.
Alright, now it's time for Secret Origin. How'd you guys like our new sexy intro music? Little Madonna for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Makes me feel old even playing that for you guys. And so this week I'm going to share a secret origin about myself.
Yay.
And that is that when I was a teenager, I was one of those dipshit kids who would wrestle their friends in their backyard. I was a backyard wrestler. A very bad one at that. So it started out, we would just do it at each other's houses at first, like if the parents weren't around, in the living room, each other's bedrooms, just it's kind of like playing around, like just like, hey, let me try this move on you, kind of thing. Dumb stuff. And from there it progressed to where we were actually we would do like submission moves, like out in each other's yards. We would put a submission hold on somebody, try to make them tap out. If that person didn't, they just weren't a pussy. It's just how it went. There was no champions or anything like that, really. Just, it was kind of a what kind of man are you kind of thing. And then later on, we're like, hey, it actually started because a friend of ours, he had a trampoline, he had a video camera. So we're like, hey, let's put these together. And so we started filming these really terrible matches whenever we had a chance. There's probably a couple hours worth of footage that exists out there somewhere. I'm glad I don't have all of it. Actually, no, I wish I did have all of it, so I could lock it away.
So you know where it's at.
Yes. But yeah, so we would put on these matches, and then later on we started doing like really cheesy storylines, and that brings me to what the second half of the Secret Origins is going to be, is that we have video evidence of my yard tarding, if you will. So me and Bethany, we took clips, the best of the worst, really. We took these clips, edited them together, and recorded commentary over the top of them.
Yes.
Where I'm mortified, truly embarrassed.
And you can tell.
Yeah, I think I say that I'm embarrassed at least 6 times in it.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, so the second half of this Secret Origin is going to be in its own video that you can find on YouTube, on our YouTube channel at Couch Potato Nation. It'll be up there. I believe it's called Unholy Matrimony Exclusive Yard Tarding Evidence is the official title of this video. So go ahead and check that out if you want. It's actually, if you want to have a good little laugh at some kids that are just truly pathetic, if you kind of feel bad for these kids when you watch this. Like, you're like what kind of people raise these
what kind of homes did they grow up in?
Yeah. Pantyhose are involved. That's all I'll say.
Yes, pantyhose. There's some fishnet action going on. There's some Jeff Hardy-esque, things going on. And then my favorite, anybody who knows me as being the casual wrestling fan that I am, knows that I dig me some wrestling boots. I critique outfits and boots on wrestlers. You can hear a lot of that if you decide to listen to Girl Meets Wrestling, and it's a segment that I help podcast.
And truly, it's not a decision that you should have weigh on you too hard. Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Go to listen to it. Listen to Dark Main Event.
Yep.
And where can they find that?
Blog Talk Radio and CouchPotatoNation.com. So you can find them there. Check them out. At least fast forward to my section and listen to me talk about pretty boots. And but anyway, no, I'm just joking. Don't fast forward. They're a great show. But anyway, yes, Jeremy at one point in this video had on some super sexy boots that I, in my opinion, would wear myself if I could.
Possibly to our wedding.
To our wedding. We're pretty much just trying to say they were knee-high and combat style and sexy.
And hookerish.
And hookerish.
All right, so yeah, go ahead and check out that. That's really the meat of this Secret Origin. This is really just me setting up you guys being able to watch that video and telling you where to find it and check it out. So yeah, so go ahead and do that.
I just realized you called me a hooker at our wedding.
What do you want?
What do you do?
Everything. But I don't kiss on the mouth.
Alright, it's that time again. Will you give me your $75 in exchange for some hot stories from you, the listeners? You can give that to me in $1 bills. You can give it to me in quarters. You can PayPal it to me. Just give me my goddamn money. Alright, take it away, B.
Alright, so this one's coming from Aubrey.
Seriously? Are you serious right now?
Get the lights.
Lights dimmed.
Alright, so this one's coming from Aubrey.
Really? What did you forget this time?
I think you forgot the music.
No, you started reading before I could turn the music on, you stupid bitch.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
That's right. Push in play.
Alright, so this one's coming from our friend Aubrey. Well, she's family, but... Alright, so I was in junior high and went out with a bunch of boys and girls for Midnight Bowl. I was feeling pretty randy, so of course, knowing me, I went to take care of it in the bathroom. I took the stall furthest from the door and started to explore my vagina. I tested pressure and it felt really good, so I figured more was better. I rubbed and rubbed, pausing when I heard others come in. Instead of stopping, I figured, well, I had gone that far, so I kept going until I felt the pressure build, praying all the while that the lady couldn't see me through the hole in the door crack. Once I came, I had to bite my lip because I swear they could hear me. That's pretty naughty. Public place and everything.
And short but sweet.
Yes. Yes. Not a lot of detail, Aubrey. Oh no. We told her detail.
We expected better from you.
I liked it.
We should have made that bitch read it live.
Oh, we should have. We had a chance too.
Increase the fucking embarrassment factor.
We should have.
Alright, you ready to go on another trip downtown to Pound Town? I know you are. It's time for another story, which you're getting for the low, low price of $75. $75. It gets you not one, but two orgasms. Two fuck stores, or cum stores, if you will. It's not that bad of a price, people. Just, you can PayPal me that $75, and I'll make sure that it goes to good use. Like buying leisure suits.
And stripper poles.
And jerry curls. Alright. Take it away, B.
Alright. So this one's coming to us.
Oh my god. Is the music playing?
No, are the lights fucking dim?
They actually are.
Oh.
You can't fucking tell? Are you goddamn as blind as Anne Frank?
Alright, cue the music.
Motherfucking cued.
Alright, so this one's coming to us from our friend Patrick.
Coming.
Although at 12 I had not yet experienced orgasm, I had been getting the hardest erections for several months, and I had elaborate sexual fantasies, mostly about girls at school. When I showered, I would let my penis get hard on its own, and then I would think about someone I fantasized about and try to get it as hard as I could, but I really didn't know what to do with it after that. I would just enjoy the feeling of being excited for a while and then wait, sometimes for a long time, for it to go down. Sometimes it did not go all the way down for hours. I must have had some idea what masturbation was, but I didn't connect it with pleasure for some reason, and I didn't have any idea how to actually do it. I was frustrated, but I didn't know the feeling as frustration yet. The way I discovered an end to my frustration was, one night after showering, standing there with my erect penis twitching in time with my pulse, I wondered what sexual intercourse would be like. I made a fist and I tried making it tighter, then looser, until when I pushed the head of my penis against it, it barely made it in. I thought that sex must be something like that, barely being able to get it inside. So I held my fist as steady as I could and I thrust my dick in and out of it. But it wasn't quite right, I thought. I thought that if I could lie down, it would be more like the real thing. So I laid on the floor of the tub. It was awkward. There was no room to stretch my legs, so my feet stuck up in the air in a ridiculous manner. But I got my fist against the tub and my body oriented so I could fuck it, and this seemed like a huge improvement over standing. Images started to come to me very easily. I thought about being inside a succession of my classmates and being able to physically act out each of these penetrations instead of just thinking about them abstractly made them even more compelling and more detailed. They took on lives of their own now that I was really living them in a sense. I thought about what girls might say or do when I was inside them, what it would be like to feel their whole body against me, feel their breath on me, their hands on me, to hear them speaking or gasping in my ear. In the course of trying that out, I learned that stimulating the head of my penis that was intensely brought everything to a whole new level. And there was a tingly feeling of blood rushing through my body, and I became physically obsessed. I knew that my body was taking the lead to this to some extent, and I was being carried along. That's when I thought about this one girl a few lockers down from me at school who I sort of liked, but had never spoken to, especially when she would flash me a freckly smile. She was short like me, and when she would get her books out of her locker, she would have to reach up and stand on her toes, and when she did that in a skirt, I could see her legs and it would arouse me. So now, as I fucked my hand, I tried to imagine myself penetrating her, but in those early days, I was not yet the conductor of the masturbation orchestra I would later become, bringing each image and sensation to bear at just the right moment. In those days, the orchestra played whatever the fuck it wanted, whenever it wanted, and I just had time to imagine pulling her panties down and touching her legs with my penis when I suddenly ejaculated without knowing that I was going to at that exact moment. Also, this will sound strange to people who have grown up with the internet, but I didn't have a very clear idea of what semen was like. What I didn't know was that the first squirt into my hand would make my hand slippery, and that I would suddenly be balls deep in my own hand, and that ejaculation wasn't a single shot, but an extended volley that would go on for several seconds, during which time I made sounds I had never made before, grunts and groans, loud enough to put me into a panic because my parents were home and had no qualms whatsoever about barging into the bathroom when I was in there. So I had to quickly clean up all the evidence, and there was a lot of evidence, and retire to my quarters to contemplate all that had just happened.
God damn. That shit was hot.
Steamy.
That I'm starting to think that $75 is just not enough for that story. So you, my friends, are getting this one for the low, low price of $172.54.
54 cents.
You can PayPal that shit to me. Send it snail mail. I don't care. Just give me my goddamn money.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming.
Alright, so we already have an update on the, what are we going to call this? Comic Gate?
Yeah.
For lack of something more creative. So, I'm assuming that it could have even been before we began recording last night. I received an email back from Mr. Jonathan Case, profusely apologizing for my book not being sent out promptly, saying that it might have been lost in the mail, or he could have written down the address wrong. He took responsibility for it, is what I'm trying to say, and he has said that he's going to send me one out this next coming week, and that he's promised a special extra surprise in it. Yeah, it could be feces. I don't know.
And why would it be feces, do you think?
Because there's a big fuck you for me complaining.
No, because of your email.
Because of my email. So I've been typoing a lot lately. And
Presley's laughing so hard right now. You know he is.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna actually pull this up real quick. Give me a second. Okay, so like I was saying, I've been typoing a lot lately, and instead of saying, hey at the beginning of it,
I think, yeah, go ahead.
I said hell, and so it kind of reads like the most redneck that ever was able to figure out how to log into a Yahoo account and write an email. And so I'm going to read it to you as it appears to me in written form. Okay, here we go. Hell, I met you at ECCC this year, and you were out of Batman 66, but I paid for one to be shipped to me and was wondering when to expect my book. Thanks.
I really honestly think that you meant to say hello and just missed the O.
I don't usually begin things with hello.
Well, I don't know why you would have either, because you don't. But that makes more sense than typoing two L's when you really meant to type a Y.
Not really, because you don't know the magnitude of my typos lately.
I do.
I could have been like, hey, queer bait. Just without even thinking, mostly because of the people I talk to, but
yeah.
But anyway, so what I'm saying is that we're gonna put this little war on the back burner for a week and a half. I'm calling off the Elvis and the Beag, putting them on. They're going to be ready. They will be ready to strike at a moment's notice.
We've got them on their leashes for now, though.
Yes, that the Hounds of Hell are on their leashes.
They're leashed, and we're not going to strictly say do not buy from this guy right now. We'll give you a week. And a half. We'll let you know a week and a half. If we continue with this burn Jonathan Case guy.
Yeah. I like to, I don't know if it's because I'm naive or what, but I like to, hope for the best out of people, which is why I waited for so long before I even bothered contacting the guy. But at the same time, once I know that I've been fucked over, it's scorched earth policy at that point.
Yeah. You're fucked for life, basically, after that point.
Yeah, and I don't even have to do anything. I could just send people who are, really bored or stoned and have them do it for me.
See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve.
All right. So this week on What the Fuck Did I Just Watch, we did get a few people who did me a solid. If you listened to last week's episode, I asked to please request Twilight. And moving forward, I have no more requests. So we will be reviewing movies that you guys put in the thread on Facebook for us, or you can email us at couchpotatonation.com if you're not a fan of our fuck it, blah, blah.
Do it live!
So for those who may just now be catching up on our podcast and didn't hear, last week when we reviewed Howard the Duck, I asked, we put a notice out there saying that we're going to take your suggestions from here on out.
For really bad movies.
Yes.
Bad movies, yes.
And so we did get a couple people that requested Twilight, so we're doing that one first. And then...
But keep the suggestions coming for future segments of this What the Fuck Did I Just Watch. We are going to grab them out of the thread each week. What we're planning on doing is writing them all down on slips of paper, putting them in a fishbowl or a hat or whatever, and drawing each week to see what movie it is that we will be forced to watch.
Yes. So, so please keep the suggestions coming. We're loving some of the submissions there. So, and if you aren't on the Facebook group page, first of all, why the fuck not? And second, if you just don't feel like joining it, you can still send us an email at couchpotatonation.com. Contact us there.
And that is cpnpodcasts@gmail.com.
Yes. Or just contact us. Moving on. So like I said, this week we're reviewing Twilight. And I'll let Jeremy, I think, start.
Okay, I'm going to start this by my very first note that I wrote down about this movie. It's about 10 minutes in. And all I wrote was, I hate this movie already. And I put a little cry face next to it.
Yes.
Because, goddamn, I hated this movie very, very fast. I had never seen it. I purposely had not seen it. I had seen a couple scenes from it. My ex-girlfriend watched this movie when it first came out, so I did see a couple shots as I was walking through the room. I didn't pay attention, but so I'm just gonna go over a couple of my notes here. The first time that Edward meets Bella, he looks like he wants to throw up. Seeing this movie for the first time had me feeling the same way. It really did. I started to really feel sick to my stomach. No, it was just corny. And a couple minutes after I wrote this, I decided, you know what? I think the problem with this is I'm watching this movie sober, and so I rolled a couple joints, which partook.
Yes, we did. And you could see just the pain on his face. He was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this movie. And so that was kind of entertaining to watch. I actually didn't even take a lot of notes myself. I was like, I'm just going to let Jeremy run with this one.
Yeah. So I also wrote down in my notes here that 5 minutes after I rolled said joint, I wrote down 5 minutes later, nope, didn't work. Still hate this movie. Anyway, another thing that that just bothered the shit about me, and I knew this was coming because everybody knows that fucking stupid vampires in Twilight, they sparkle in the sunlight. And when it comes time for them to reveal that, it was one of the dumbest fucking reveals in movie history. It starts out, he decides he's going to take her up the mountain, up the hill, and being that he's a vampire and he can move incredibly fast, he's like, well, screw this walking shit. So he fucking piggybacks her at Mach speed up this fucking hill, right up to the source of right above the cloud level, so that the sunlight's shining on him. And it just, it just came off terrible. Like
He got really emo about it.
Yeah, it was played off like I'm gonna show you my big secret, and then the reveal is that he fucking sparkles, like he's been bedazzled.
Yeah.
He got really fucking emo.
He acted like that was the worst thing that he could even look like. Like that was just the absolute worst abomination, is the fact that he sparkled like diamonds, and like fuck his life, right?
Yeah. And speaking of bad scenes, and just this movie had a lot of really cheesy romance in it, of course, because Twilight.
Yeah.
But the way that they did it, it actually, I think, finally it knocked Star Wars Episode 2 off the top of the list with the corny fucking romantic scenes. Like, I showed Bethany Episode 2 for the first time, about a month and a half ago?
Yeah.
Something like that?
A couple months.
Yeah, and I was pointing out to her, it's like, yep, so this is what I hated about this movie. Like, all the scenes on Naboo where they're fucking, like, rolling around in the flowers and shit. Like, it's just, oh, God, it was terrible. But this actually topped it. It was just crap. Complete crap.
I knew he was going to reference this, too, in his notes. I knew it was coming. I was like, he's going to reference the fact that there's more cheesy romance scenes than Star Wars. So I got pretty excited that I called that.
I will say that there was one good scene in this movie.
Yes.
So they were it was a coffee shop, right? Or was it just a restaurant?
It was a restaurant.
Okay, it was a restaurant. Okay, and he reveals to Bella that he can read minds. And so he goes across the room and he says what it's on everybody's mind. So he's like money, sex, sex, money. And he pans to this really creepy guy sitting alone at a table in the dark corner. And he says, cats. and then the guy looked like he kind of broke the fourth wall. He kind of looked into the camera and then did this little shrug like, yeah, oh me. And I thought it was fucking hilarious. So yes, I will give them props for that. That was good.
That's not the only scene he liked there, though. I will say Jeremy's face did light up, and it was super funny when it's just before this scene actually that he just described, when Edward saves Bella from the rapey guys in the alley who had horrible thoughts or whatever, and he drove up and he tells her to get in the car and she gets in there, and he gets back in the car and he does this backwards driving spin around maneuver type thing, and he got really excited. He was like, that's how I drive on GTA 3. He got very excited by it.
Yeah, in GTA 3, it was just, especially with the newer style yellow taxis in that game, you could do these quick little fucking turnaround spins and be able to maneuver out. And when I saw him do that, it's just oh man, I want to play Grand Theft Auto now. Fuck this movie. Then later in the movie, and I took a lot of notes on this scene for some reason. There's a scene where the Cullens meet up with the other evil vampires, and I only say that they're evil because they're just doing what fucking vampires are supposed to do, feed on people, on humans, and not to pretend that they're not fucking vampires like the goddamn Cullens do. And anyway, so they meet up with the evil vampires, and it looked like a scene out of West Side Story.
Yeah.
Because they kind of got into these fighting stances and were faced off against each other. It almost looked like the Jets and the Sharks were about to have a fucking dance off on a baseball diamond.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the whole
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, instead of an alley though, it's a baseball diamond because the Cullens were actually playing a game of family baseball because they're fucking lame. And did you have any other notes that you took about this crap fest?
No, really. I just wrote a brief note about my final thought that I can expand on, and that's just watching this movie, because this is only my second time seeing it. I have seen all the Twilight movies except for the last book was split into 2 movies, and I haven't seen the very last movie. But I've only seen them all once. And watching it again, watching it for the second time, it really reaffirmed just all those, comments that they make. And I am not a feminist by any means. We all know this. But it really just reaffirmed, how fucked up, I can't even remember her name now, the author, must be in relationships, because it reveals a lot, like the way she views how men should be and how women should be in relationships, and like
Emo little prissies? Is that how men are supposed to be?
well, so first of all, so he stalks her all the time, stalks her everywhere.
And while at the same time rejecting her at every turn.
Yes. And she's drawn to that. She gets really fucking depressed and emo when he isn't around her all the time. She's like 16 and she's like, I'm going to die without you, Edward. And just getting ridiculous about it. And the fact that she herself is like, she's not, drop dead gorgeous. She's, but she also doesn't play to her strengths, because Kristen Stewart has some strength. She's kind of pretty. And
not in the acting or like emotions, being able to express
No.
emotion. She does not have any strength in that category.
no, she doesn't have strength there, but she does like physically, she does have some strength. She's a pretty girl. And they portrayed her as a girl that like thinks of herself as being super ugly and, insecure and things like that. And she's a klutz. Like, so she needs Edward to be there to save her at every turn, because she could not possibly live in a life with vampires on her own. And I'm like, if that is going to make any woman, like even myself, I'm like, fuck you. Women are stronger than that. Like, I'm not even as pretty as Kristen Stewart, but god damn it.
Oh, don't even fucking say that. You are 10 times hotter than Kristen Stewart.
Whatever.
She's not pretty.
But, so, that's dumb. But, I just...
face is dumb.
Did you say my face is dumb?
No, her face is dumb.
But it just really reaffirmed that for me, that, that whole... she must have some serious relationship issues in her own life if that's how she's going to portray people in relationships to be.
All right, well, for my final thought, and I didn't go as fucking deep and philosophical as you did. Jesus fuck. My final thought, Twilight as a whole gets a lot of irrational hatred slung at it, and I've been as guilty as this as anybody. Really? I fucking despised this movie from the first time I saw a trailer for it. And
he trolls my sister-in-law Aubrey. He trolls her with bad Twilight memes and stuff like that.
I haven't done that in a while. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to get back on it.
Yeah.
I've
Now
been
that you've seen the
slacking.
movie,
Yeah.
you're allowed.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but like I'm saying, it gets a lot of hatred slung at it from a lot of people who don't ever even bother giving it a fucking chance. And after having watched it, I can now say with confidence that I was 100% fucking right. This movie fucking sucks. Sucks. I give it a 1 out of 5. What about you?
I gave it a 2 out of 5.
All right, so I guess we're going to combine and say it's 1.5 Wilhelm screams out of 5.
Vampires do not sparkle in the sunlight. When the sun hits them, they die.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Unholy Matrimony. Be sure to check out this show and any of the podcasts available on the CPN Podcast Network at couchpotatonation.com.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter at We The Potato.
We're on YouTube. You can subscribe to us, get this and every other video that we post.
And we also have a Facebook page, so make sure to like it at facebook.com/couchpotatonation.
All right, so I'm Jeremy for my co-host in life, Bethany, saying later, fuckers.
You've just listened to another fine CPN Network podcast. Thanks for listening.